Sure. I'm Brittany Graham. I'm currently the Executive Director of the Vancouver Area Network of Drug Users. I guess the thing that we were previously speaking about is that if this is for Australia, I think like the reflections on Canada would be useful because you guys are an island and are sort of protected from the drug trades coming and going in different ways, but here we used to have only heroin, and we had very small pilot projects in which we started to regulate heroin for less than 100 people. If we had taken the opportunity to pursue that further instead of thinking of it as a moral issue, likely much of the downtown east side wouldn't be using fentanyl or benzos or other adulterated substances at the moment. So regulation is an important thing to think about, and you guys have a protectiveness as to be an island and can control what comes in and out more, but at the end of the day, heroin and cocaine and those sorts of natural farm-based substances are going to get fewer and far between because there's a farmer, there's a middleman, there's a distributor, there's all the other things that come along with an illegal operation currently, and if they get stopped anywhere along the line of our judicial system at the moment, then that line disappears. With fentanyl, you just have to have some basic chemistry and be able to order stuff off the internet, and this is what we're seeing is like more and more drugs are changing and more people have no control over what they're using, and that autonomy is no longer something that people have when they're using drugs. Their choice to use drugs is still theirs, but what is in them and how much and why and when is very hard for them to be in control of. Even if they go to an injection facility, even if they get their drugs tested, it's like if the supply is highly unregulated, it will continue to get more toxic as we continue to pursue a criminal way of controlling that. Regulation is needed in a way that's like, this is what people get and this is what they know they get, and they have a choice there, as we do with alcohol. But it's different in each place. You know, we have less than 5.5% of people who currently use illicit substances in this province. We have upwards of 70% of people who use alcohol. The kinds of regulation and public health needs and harm reduction needs we have for those two populations would be different, and so regulation would look different. But there's options to regulate those drugs in a way that isn't just giving it over to gangs or mafia or whatever it is, and the police is the only place in which we're actually talking about drugs, because that's the direction we're going right now. And in Canada, the numbers are staggering how many people are dying that are from different populations than you would previously think of. So people think of poverty, they think of homelessness, they think of mental health issues when they think of drug use. Those things can go hand in hand, but sometimes they don't. Here, it's upwards of, I think it's 4 out of 5 deaths are men across Canada out of the 40,000+ people that have died. Of those men, 30 to 50% of them were working in the trade industry at the time of their death. So it's a huge part of our population that are building our homes, fixing our toilets, going to the oil rigs, all of that stuff. And if our country doesn't think about the larger GDP and the larger issues that we have at this moment, we might lose a huge part of our population. And not even from an empathetic place where we should actually be thinking about people as real people and their real lives and their real human beings and their families and friends, and the loss of that person, of them not being here anymore. But like a whole generation of men currently is being eliminated in this country, and it's not a crisis level crisis. We had billions of dollars put into COVID and a lot of public health measures put in to get us out of that crisis. We have lost more people in this country to drug overdoses related to the toxic drug crisis, and the level of commitment to funds, research, policy changes is nowhere near the same. And so I think we really need to think about how do we deal with public health issues, and when do we value a life and what that life is important for, and what kind of morality and stigma we have built into us because we've decided 100 plus years ago that these drugs are bad and those people that use them are bad, and the people who use these drugs, alcohol, tobacco, etc., caffeine, they're okay, and we'll regulate them. So these are the kinds of things that I think that our country should be doing, but you guys have a much easier place to take a deep breath than us because, you know, we're connected to multiple countries, and so what happens with us isn't necessarily our decision all the time. People are coming in and out of the country from the border, from flying, etc., in a more readily way than Australia. And so you guys can take that deep breath and say, what do we want to do? Where do we want to go? Because the drug trade is changing across the universe in our world at the moment, and fentanyl is going to be everywhere. I've heard that there's more nitazene, etc., in Australia. And so, like, once you get into those toxicities that are kind of outside of the standard norm, you can't really prescribe your way out of it. It's too hard to do, and we're in that place now. So how do you guys reflect on that now and the future of your country now?